Well, hello, Crashing In podcast, and today is the second part of the Arapaima podcast. And basically, I don't know if you remember me saying on the last podcast, this podcast was recorded at a gig, and it was the Low Red Moon album launch party, and like Arapaima was supporting, and they had a poet and some acts on, and then Low Red Moon played, and yeah, after Arapaima I got interviewing Low Red Moon, and they're brilliant people, really nice people, and it was great to talk to them. It was only a short one because due to time and scheduling and stuff like that, there was a bit in a rush. So I think this one's only like a few minutes. But we got talking about the album, the gig, and how they got together, and the basic stuff we usually talk about on Crashing In podcast. And yeah, it was great. It was great chatting to them. So like, I hope you all enjoy today's episode. And also, back to Arapaima, I hope you all enjoyed the last episode I've done with them. They're a great band, and I highly recommend giving them a listen. They're on SoundCloud, and yeah, and this album by Low Red Moon, you can access this on Bandcamp. I haven't actually checked to see if you can get it on Spotify, but the link is in their bio. I'm going to put links and that on the description, and that'll lead you where you need to be to visit Low Red Moon stuff. So yeah, and I'm going to be playing some footage of their live performance at the Night Owl, and yeah, I hope you all like it. I hope you like this band. Again, quite a unique band. This band has combined genres of punk, gothic rock. It was under the category as gothic psych, bits psychedelia at times, and this band like has like loads of musicians like in band. Like they have a flute player, they have two vocalists, I think they have a keyboardist and that, guitarist, drummer, bassist, and it's quite a big band, and it's nice to see a band with different instruments to like the usual band, if you know what I mean. Like a flute player, you don't really see a flute player very often in a band, and I love a flute player. I know it's quite funny that, because I'm getting flute players on recently, like Al Doim on the Fire Reeds, I had a flute player as well, and that's what makes them so unique as well. And that's what I'm looking for. And if you're listening and you're a band that's quite unique with your sound and instruments and stuff like that, get in contact. So I'm waffling on now. So like I'm gonna, because even my intro has finished, so I'm gonna pass you over to Low Red Moon and some footage of their gig. Hope you all enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Oh, big shout out to VJ Vajazo. She's about to make things extra sexy. Dr. Magnets, what have you got? Mary and Angela. Guys, on the money. Thank you for bearing with us. We got there in the end.
Hello, Crashing Podcast, and I'm with Low Red Moon.
Hey, you right? Hello.
Hey.
Factually correct, he is with us.
Do you want to say your names, what you play in the band?
Sure, I'm Katie Thompson DeWolf, and I am a singer and play rhythm guitar and write some shiz.
I'm Gary, I play bleeps and bloops and do a bit of singing or hollering.
And I'm Ollie, and I drum.
So, let's talk about tonight's gig. It's your album, let's launch the album into it.
Yeah, so tonight came about because we won some Arts Council funding, which afforded us to put on an event that included spoken word, live visuals, as well as a performance and the Arapaima and record. So we went to Wales back end of last year, and we recorded a 9-track album. And it's dropped today, or yesterday technically, but it's meant to be today, on Bandcamp for one whole month. So we're keeping it real for the first month, and then we go out to the Evil streaming guys from the 15th of May. And vinyl will come because of Brexit and all the other shit's going on. There's massive pressing plant delays. You said Adele is to blame as well.
Yeah, Adele was
That's funny. That's funny. We was talking about that with this other band. I was talking to the record shop, talking about how Adele and all this and that, Ed Sheeran and all that.
I mean, on one hand, it's really good that the kids, or I've just generalised there, but imagine majority of people buying those records are going to be kids.
I don't
it's nice
imagine
that
Adele's record buying public are very much under the age of 35.
But it's nice to think that the kids are going out and buying vinyl. So that is one half of it, even though it's annoying for the independents and whatnot. So it's a two-sided coin, I guess.
That's what's Crashing about.
Yeah.
Promoting independence. But you want to talk a bit about the album? What was it like recording?
It was really good fun, actually, wasn't it?
It was wonderful. We stayed out on a farm in Wales, a place called Foal Studios.
FOEL.
Yeah, where lots of really cool things have been recorded. I think My Bloody Valentine, The Fall, all sorts of. So it's got quite
I've been there before, actually, years ago as well. I mean, it's lovely because you've got like a farmhouse, well, two farmhouses really. You sleep in one, so it's like a bit of a weekend break as well. And then you record in the other one. It's beautiful views in a typical Welsh valley, sheep all about.
That's
rain,
right,
mist.
And Mike, who runs it, is just great
He's
as
a
well. So
legend.
we just had a glorious time, really.
We had a really good crack.
And tried to put everything together in the space of 3 days.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think because we see ourselves as a live band, and we have been up to this point. I think the idea is that we wanted to kind of record as much of it live, all set up in one go.
Yeah, okay.
And I like to think we still have got a lot of that feel in it, but we kind of learned the hard way that you can't record like 11 songs in 3 days that way. You know, you need to have a click. There's reasons why you do certain things. So that's why the album's a little bit shorter, because we were quite ambitious. And we had to book an extra day to go in and mix it, didn't we? But yeah, it was really good fun.
It's still pretty good doing everything in 4 days. I think it's...
So what's the inspiration behind the album, like with the lyrics and stuff like that?
Well, they're all different. Each song's got a different inspiration. But,
St. Vitus is an interesting...
that's about the dancing plague of, I think it's the 15th century, where people just started dancing to death and people would join them and dance to death, and they don't actually understand where it comes from, but they link it with people like speaking in tongues, this sort of like suggestion of something, and people tap into it, and they think a lot of it was to do with St. Stephen, the saint of St. Vitus is a saint of music, but they're saying basically if you were a sinner that you were being punished in this way, and I think the idea that if you have the notion of this person has sinned and they're really guilty, and you're like, well, I've sinned, is that going to happen to me as well? And the power of suggestion, I think this is the closest thing they've got to it, is that people think, well, shit, I've sinned as well, and maybe I should also dance, and you know, that's how it sort of came about.
And people just danced until they fell.
Yeah, well, until they fell down dead. Yeah, and they made it like they put it on display in like the town centre, and then they realised that more people were dying, and so they moved it as far away from the town as possible. And there's lots of theories about like lead in the water, or something in the food that's linked. It's very closely linked to LSD, and they might have been tripping. But for that many people to be tripping in the same way, I think is illogical. I think it's probably more to do with what they were thinking and what they were. I don't know. Cool. I wasn't there, but really cool. I found it fascinating, and I learned about it through horrible histories. They have stupid deaths, stupid deaths, funny cause.
That's a great show. That is, to be honest. I haven't watched that in ages. But
and then, the rest are all just sort of little life experiences, you know, relationships, past relationships, friendships, things like that. There's one that's kind of loosely, Slaughterhouse is about Slaughterhouse 5, but connected with the story of my own granddad, so tying them together. And Here on the Moon is based on a Shirley Jackson book, so some things are based on contemporary literature as well.
so
very highbrow.
We're so highbrow.
for people that don't know much about your band and that, and people that are listening and new to hearing about you, how would you describe like the type of sound it is like to people that don't know?
It's a really hard one, isn't it? We were talking about this today.
My friend listened to the album. He said it sounded like country B-52s or Chumbawamba doing Americana, but it's pretty hard to pin down what we're doing.
I mean, we're 7 strong on stage playing instruments, 8 strong with spoken word poets who also does a bit of dancing, 9 strong with visual artists, and all of it's really important that we kind of cram it all in as much as possible. So when you've got that many people together, you're going to get lots of different influences and lots of different sort of sounds and sort of pushes and pulls. What I hear in it, I think our guitarist really brings a lot of our identity with the sound of his guitar, because he plays a lot of like surfer licks, and he's a big fan of like psych rock, and he really brings that to the table in a strong way that I think we all really jump onto and enjoy and try to accentuate. I'm really really, since getting some of the last sort of few people on board, we've done a lot of playing around in our old lockup and jamming and just coming up with songs on spec, where our single came from Fluid, and our encore play tonight, which is called Motion Sickness, and they're all completely co-written, jamming in the studio, and they're all really upbeat, and it's really good fun. So when we play them, we stick them at the end of the set. It feels like a party vibe, and that's something we're kind of that's where I want to see us going more, is more of the upbeat sort of party. I want to see people dancing and having a good time, because it just feels so much fun when we do that. So,
but it's quite cool when you can mix a load of different vibes to your songs, and that way when there's some upbeat and some just instrumental, whatever you like to do, you know what I mean? So, let's talk about your band name, Low Red Moon. How did you come up with that name?
Well, I just started off just gigging on my own before I had lots of other people's. So I named it after a song by a band called Belly.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a 90s chick through and through, and they're like one of my favourite bands. Belly Star is probably one of my all-time favourite albums, and that song in particular is just so dramatic and wonderful, and the guitar sound is wonderful on it. And so I thought it was as good as any other name, and thankfully nobody's complained about it yet. And it's good because we can call ourselves Moonies, and it's all just kind of worked out.
So how did you all meet?
So I knew Dr. Magnets first, the lead guitarist, because we've been friends for a while. I met my husband. Yeah, he is actually a doctor of magnets, literally. I met my husband through him and his wife. They introduced us. So we've been friends for a while. And when I was just gigging on my own, I asked him if he fancied playing guitar with me. So we started off as a duo. And then our friend Arthur Tapp, who's a promoter here in Birmingham, was saying, my friend Paris plays bass, I think she wants to have a jam with you. And so we talked about it. It didn't happen for ages, and finally we organised it. And I was like, well, it'd be a bit weird having bass and no drums. And Paris was like, I know a guy. And so we went to our first rehearsal room.
That's me.
Our first rehearsal room, and Paris and Ollie just clicked into it more or less straight away, and it was magic. And we did a gig together, and it was totally magic. And then I met Gary on the school run. Both of our daughters are in the same class. They're both named Polly. Yeah, so we started talking, and I hadn't even heard him play, and I was like, do you want to be in a band?
And now she's stuck with me.
I know, it's stuck, yeah. It's all worked out. And then Angela would come to our gig. She went to one of our gigs at Rock and Roll Brew House, and she was so keen, and she's also a drummer. So in my head at the time, I had this grand idea of having 2 drummers on stage, which would be wonderful.
Cool idea.
It is cool, but because we live in Birmingham and we play small venues, and it's really hard just getting the 7 of us on stage, 2 kids as well. It's really ambitious.
Well, it takes a lot of space, doesn't it?
We need stadiums for that stuff. So she's on flute. She's a really good flute player as well, and she's got a good fluoton tonight. She's a really good flautist. And she,
Basil's our new bassist.
Well, I'm getting there. But with the flute, she's actually been on. She's done a couple of John Peel sessions back in the day with a band called L'Orientation. So she's actually the coolest out of all of us.
Oh, nice.
And then Paris recently left the band, the other bassist, sadly, because she's moving to London, which is great for her. It's worked out great for us because we auditioned. It was the first time we auditioned anyone, because everyone just sort of come on board, and we had 5 bassists booked in, and it was unanimous when he left the room. Everyone's like, Faisal. It's great, and he's just, you've only been with about 6 weeks now. So this is our first gig with us tonight.
Cool.
And
Good luck.
Yeah, obviously you can't see that through audio, but doing the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Probably need to. Unfortunately, we are probably going to have to head off in a second. I'm really sorry.
Well, no, that's all right. But thanks for actually joining me, and it's been great talking to you.
Maybe do one more question if you've got one.
Yeah, well, I was thinking. Do you want to talk about your, where you access your music and that again for the people that are listening?
Say it again.
Where you access your music and that for the people that are listening.
Yes. Yeah, and it's on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
So it's Low Red Moon UK.
Yeah.
If you have a look on there, we've got the first single. We've also got a video on YouTube for the first single, Fluid. If you want to have a look, it's directed by Carla Busuttil, who's doing the visuals for us tonight. And set in 15th of March. The album will be available streaming,
15th of May.
Spotify. 15th of May. What's it say March? Oh, okay. So MA.
We're going back in
Going
time.
back. We're going back in time. Yeah, thanks for that. No, 15th of May. 15th of May. And then final date to be advised at some point. But yeah, and then we're doing another gig in July, headlining at the Hare and Hounds on Saturday. Is it Saturday? 15th or something? 16th? Hang on. Look, I'm so organized. I know exactly what I'm doing, honestly. 16th, well done. 16th at the Hare and Hounds. So that's our next big thing. So hopefully I'll maybe have another single out by then.
Have you got any recommended bands before you go?
We played with Japanese television recently, and they're fantastic.
What's my favourite record of the last while? I like everything that Beat do in the guitar space, and then over mono some electronic stuff. So yeah.
Birmingham bands, they're all great.
Actually, you were talking about Arthur Tapp earlier. He's got a new project.
Yeah, You, Me and the Trees. Also really big fan of everything that Didas Dare putting out. I love modern literature and Hey Alamo. They're great.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I've been into recently.
I've been listening to Molchat Doma. It's like, I think from Bulgaria. Electro music is great.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's a bit of a diverse.
Very
diverse. I like it. Something for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
And really nice to meet you as well.
Yeah,
And
and you, Callum.
thank you. And good luck with your gig tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for taking time with us
Hope you enjoy
tonight.
it.
No.
Cheers for that. Really appreciate it.
You were fluent, now you does not exist anymore.
that was Low Red Moon, and that was one of their singles called Fluid. And you can access the music video and the song on YouTube. And also, like they said, you can access the music on Bandcamp. The link is in their bio. Just want to say I am sorry about the audio on that one. At that point at the Night Owl, it got a bit rowdy. So I'm sorry if you had struggles on hearing or like what's saying and stuff like that. I tried to cut out the louder bits and stuff like that where people were more loud in the background and stuff like that. But it couldn't be helped because obviously it was at a gig and it was a bit rowdy. People were all coming in at that time because when I interviewed with Arapaima, the doors literally, it was a bit before the doors opened, then everyone started coming in. It was getting a bit on in the night, so like, sorry about the audio. But I hope you all enjoyed it anyway. I hope you all enjoyed the footage and the music, and follow them on Instagram. The links are on my description. The next guest for podcast will be a band called Holy Fuck. So stay tuned for that podcast. See you later, and hope you all have a great evening.